All right. Calling to order the regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Willington of December 15th, 2025. I'd like to ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next is approval of minutes. We have the minutes from December 1st, which were distributed previously. I have no edits to offer.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of December 1st, 2025 of the Board of Selectmen meeting.
One second. Any more discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye, aye. Okay, present to speak. Public participation is encouraged. Speakers are limited by appropriateness, staying on topic and maintaining decorum. Time may be limited to maintain progress. Please request to reserve time during the meeting if you wish to speak to a specific agenda item. And I'll start online. Any present to speak? Raise your hand or unmute.
Hi,
Matt, go ahead.
yeah, I'm unfamiliar with this. One moment, please. Okay, I'm good. Thank you. I was asked to give some suggestions for the school building committee, which is on the agenda for tonight, I believe. I prepared a listing that I shared with Andy and Pete a couple months ago. So for your consideration, I would suggest that the Board of Selectmen include in the charge the cost for disposing of or disposition of unused school buildings as necessary in the total project cost that's reported to the town. And also maintenance for those buildings while they're being disposed of, or not disposed of, but disposition of which is decided. And then I would provide a budget for an independent professional manager for the committee work. I think that things will move along much quicker, much more professionally, much more independently, and with a higher degree of trust if there's a professional manager who assists the committee, gathering information, providing analysis of different documents, and provides input. And then I would recommend the committee be smaller rather than larger. 5 is a good number. It's an odd number, plus 2 alternates. That makes 7 people. And I think that's a large enough committee to both provide the information necessary and the horsepower necessary to do the work, and also avoids creating factions and independent groups within the committee. I would provide a budget for the committee for up to 4 direct mail communications to taxpayers. One of the major, I think everyone agrees that one of the major problems in the past has been communications. I'm not casting any aspersions or blame. That's not the point. The point is everyone can agree that there was problems with communication. Let's put the resources necessary up front, put it in the budget so that people can get directly to their house information on the progress, the charge, the progress, what's happening, ask for participation. And I think that'll go a long way towards building consensus on something that'll work for our town. And then lastly, I would make all email communications available to the public without any FOIA or anything like that. Just simply when there's an email having to do with this project between any of the members, anything, just put it out there. Just put in a new folder, email communications, and everything goes in there. That'll go a long way towards transparency and establishing trust as well. So those are some ideas and suggestions for the work that the Board of Selectmen puts forward in developing this school building committee. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else online for present to speak? All right, we'll go to the room. Anybody in the room present to speak?
Judy, do I give my name in?
Yeah, identify yourself for the record. Yeah.
Judy Campbell, 61 Latham Road. I'm speaking nothing on the agenda, so should I wait and speak at number 12? Present is.
No, this is the same as number 12.
Oh,
It's now or then, either or both.
oh, okay, I didn't know how it worked, so, my concern is, recently there were cameras that were put up at the Wellington Senior Center by, Mr. DeGata. And, after my conversation today with, Karen Cody, the Human Services Director, she said that I guess the cameras were taken down. My concern is the cameras were up, and I do have pictures of the cameras and a notice, surveillance notice that was posted on one of the pillars inside the common room area of the senior center. And also when I visited the senior center on December 8th, I did take pictures of the cameras, and the blue light was on one of the cameras, so it was indicating that they were active. I would like to know what action is being taken, only because since the cameras have been taken down, there was video that, I guess, under my understanding, went to personal devices of Mr. Tagata. And I don't know what he's doing with the videos. Even though the cameras were removed, the videos are still out there, so I don't know how the action is going to be taken to retrieve the videos. And also under my understanding that when I was speaking to Karen Cody today, the reasoning behind it was, I do believe it was bill number 21-55, that was being used to put the cameras up. So my concern is, which I had visited the senior center and was being videoed without authorization from, I do believe, the town management. How is the retrieval of the video that had already been recorded? How is that being retrieved, and what is going to be done about it? So I have a packet here, so.
I will, yeah, go ahead and leave that right there, and then,
Okay.
I'm gonna suggest when we're in the meeting
And this
that we
is-
add it to the agenda.
This is the timestamp, and if you're not comfortable with me writing it, I have the timestamps on my phone,
Okay, we're
so,
gonna add it to the agenda so we can discuss it.
okay, tonight or another
Yeah,
agenda?
right.
Oh, okay, I didn't know, I don't know how
Since it's a regular meeting, we can add things.
I didn't know how it worked, so.
Okay. Other present to speak? All right, we will, so that. Okay, yeah, so let's do, I think, yeah, maybe we'll push things down, we'll do that as the first part of new business. We'll make that 9A and we'll adjust the others down. I move that we add a new 9A and adjust the other items down the agenda. And that item will be senior center security camera discussion. The second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll come back to this. Um. Okay, moving on to correspondence. The only thing I had, so Shannon was off for a week and I, don't think I screwed up too much while she was gone. The only correspondence I had is you have a copy of the letter from James McCoo that went to the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, and the Board of Education. In brief, talking about the various assets of the town and all that. And I am drafting a response, which you both certainly can feel free to send me any input you would want to have on the response to it, but basically indicating that we are aware of those concerns and that there are many departments within the town who are working on parts of this concern. But that the points made are good.
Well, if I understand it, the writer is simply asking for, is there a comprehensive plan for all of the properties that the town owns? But sort of.
Well, yes, or that we should take steps to create one.
Yeah, well, right, yeah, is there
Right.
one, and if not, there should be. That's what-
Right.
Yeah.
Which I think has been voiced in the past as a
Yeah.
goal of CIP.
Yeah.
To sort of broaden. If we were to approve on the Board of Selectmen to broaden the scope of CIP to look at longer range and a broader. You know, it wouldn't just be what projects are being requested, but it would be looking at sort of the life cycle of all the assets. Anything else on that topic?
No, digest this.
Okay. All right, next is tax refunds. So make sure I've got I'm out of practice on these. So. Right, okay. I will move that we refund $176.16 to Benjamin Cortez for overpayment of tax bill.
I'll second, no. No, you seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I move that we issue a refund of $289.26 for overpaid taxes to Kayla DeShane.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I move that we refund overpaid taxes of $290.32 to ARI Fleet Limited LTD.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I move that we refund $402.45 of overpaid tax to Lindsay Robbins.
I'll second.
Are you missing?
You're missing as well. Just
Just checking, make sure you're paying attention to the order that I'm again. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 thicker too thin.
Have a Ralph to his budget.
All right, I move that we refund overpaid taxes in the amount of $115.57 to the estate of Philip M. Tiersek Senior.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We got those tax refunds. Okay, Public Works report. Installed new stop signs and street signs around town that have been damaged or knocked over. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of a rash of people going around and just pulling the stop signs out of the ground and then laying them on the ground. They fortunately weren't breaking the posts, but they were leaving the stop signs and street signs at corners on the ground.
Just we didn't have to buy new ones.
No,
Just for fun?
Apparently, fortunately did not cause any accidents with the missing stop signs. They washed the trucks, patched some holes around town with cold patch, including 2 in this parking lot. Emptied the trash cans at River Road Athletic Park, set up town hall for the town meeting. Touched up some gravel roads with the grader, and cleaning and inventory of the parts room is ongoing. Plowed and salted roads due to ice and snow related weather, 3 times, I think now, as of the snow this weekend. That's for Public Works report. For Selectmen report, I attended the CCM conference, which was excellent networking, and brought some new information on some sort of grant funded and other potentially valuable programs. That could be something that Wellington might be able to leverage in the future. Particularly in the southwest corner of Wellington near Route 195, that might relate to transportation infrastructure and things like that. But that will be a long-term thing. No one's throwing money at us right now. But it's an interesting new program being run by the state, and it might be a way to get some of our state tax dollars back coming towards us. Because we are paying for this program already. The Cadle Rock property, which we've talked about a lot in the past. We're expecting news hopefully this week on possibly some more brownfield grants. To help with the continuing cleaning up and straightening up of the Cadle Rock property on the Ashford-Mansfield line. I met with the emergency management director to kind of talk about what's the status of emergency management in Wellington. We're working on tying in emergency management, getting it more publicly available to understand what our emergency management plans are, the access to the plans, and understanding how emergency management would work in town based on different type of emergency events, which should tie in with Everbridge and some other things upcoming. Related, I met with the town's fire marshal. We're working on electronic inspection format using the software that the land use office is already using. It looks like we have an opportunity to create a fire marshal's inspection type within what the building inspector is already using to inspect buildings, which means it's tied into our GIS and all the property information and everything will reside in the same place. I got an update on that today. Mike D'Amato's been creating the form and the functionality behind it. Which hopefully soon will allow the fire marshal to be able to work right in the software, and then it'll be a publicly available form like anything else on there. Can check the status of, businesses being inspected for safety and all that. I did have a discussion, as I've mentioned a little bit to you gentlemen before, with Russell Blair from the FOIA Commission about how we make sure to properly address the fact that we 3 selectmen also participate in other things in town, official boards and committees, and how we address if those become selectmen meetings or not when we're there, because any 2 of us obviously is a quorum of the Board of Selectmen. And as we talked about at the, I don't know, whatever, maybe the school, maybe it was the fire station committee meeting, we talked about this.
Emergency services.
Emergency services facilities meeting. It is normal in a small town for people to be on multiple boards and committees, and the basic rule of thumb is that any quorum of the 3 of us participating in another group, as long as we don't attempt to conduct or infer that we're conducting or making decisions of the Board of Selectmen, would keep us out of trouble and would keep us out of creating an unintentional meeting. So if we're on the facility building, the fire station emergency services facility building committee, as we did this past week, we can say, well, let's send that to the Board of Selectmen. And pretending as if we're not on the Board of Selectmen at that moment. We don't debate what the Board of Selectmen will do. Since then, we're kind of creating our own meeting.
Basically, we're not making any Board of Selectmen decisions when we're present.
For other meetings. Yes.
The meeting.
Makes sense.
Correct, and that is an acceptable way to operate. For example, if the school building committee takes off and there are public forums to talk about school building committee with the public, the three of us can all attend that. As long as we don't like sit on a dais together or at a front thing and act like a board or whatever. We
Makes
can,
sense.
we can do that.
And we should be able to
And-
speak.
Right, and you would not have to call it as a joint meeting or, you know, or a special board of selectmen meeting.
Unless it was going to be one.
Unless it was, right, unless there was going to be business that the board of selectmen was participating in, correct?
Makes sense.
So that's the clarity, yep. I met with a and I've had multiple emails since with a very actively involved local person who is anxious to get a farmer's market started in town. She's working, she wants to get her groundwork done before the spring. And she's working on trying to, I got her connected with some people in other towns who run farmers markets, so she can figure out what the pitfalls are that they've already learned how to deal with. Most importantly, how to make sure it stays local and farmer and not become a tag sale and all sorts of other things. So I'm encouraged by that. She's working very hard, talking to the right people. So maybe we'll have a local farmers market come spring. Met with Eversource, made some good contacts with them about how we handle things generally in town and also who my contacts would be for board of selectmen or town business for resolving issues. Good line of communication with them. And then I've had a lot of correspondence and contact with Tammy Nuccio about getting the school building committee work going. So the townspeople can participate and in the discussion and make choices about the future of the schools. She feels that a lot of hard work was done over the last couple of years in the previous selectmen's administration and her work in the legislature with other people there. And that the best possible outcome of all that hard work is that the townspeople have an opportunity to participate and make a decision in the time that would allow them to get the best financial advantage if they choose to take that advantage. That they don't lose the opportunity.
Right.
To choose to
Their
take that.
choice.
Right. That's it for first selectmen's report. Okay. New business, we're gonna start with the new 9A. Which is the security cameras at the senior center. I know a little bit about this,
It's the first I've heard of it.
yes, I heard about this earlier today.
Okay.
What I do understand, and then I'm gonna ask I'll give each of these people a chance to speak more about it, what they know about it. What I do understand is some part of the seniors group or officers installed some cameras. And we're referencing a certain Connecticut general statute, as was mentioned before, and that is possibly not directly applicable, might have been an error. The good intentions were done by putting up the sign so that everyone knew it was happening, but it possibly did not come out right and the cameras were removed. My understanding, well, I can tell you this, the town administration was not involved at all. No recordings or anything.
I mean, what is?
Well, it is a
Don't they have
town
board-
building.
But don't they have a board of directors or something?
Well, I'm just telling you, we weren't involved.
No, I just.
Because it is a town building, so I just wanna be clear that we
Sure.
weren't involved in that part of it. And the cameras were taken down, and my understanding is there were no recordings made. But that's the little bit I know at this point. Judy Campbell has spoken. Ed, if you'd like to identify yourself and tell us what you know of the situation, we'll try to see where we are.
Edward Degata, 23 Myrtle Road. Originally, we put the cameras in because we have older people that are in there all day. And Nan's in there alone, and we were worried about safety for one thing. And we thought that this would be a good way of somehow protecting them. The cameras were ordered on the 21st of November. They didn't go in until after Thanksgiving. They were in 3, 4 or 5 days maybe. We never put the memory cards in, so the only way to save recordings would have been to the cloud. And to go to the cloud, you have to have an account and you have to pay. So we never did that. When I talked with people and we took the cameras down, I got advice from some people and we took the cameras down. The cameras were reinitialized. There's a button on the side to reinitialize it and brings them back to factory specs, which are wiped out. There is no memory in the camera, but what it does is it takes the setup and wipes the setup post, so it's not attached to any phone. The app that was used on my phone was deleted when I took them down. So, and there's no way of recording on the phones with the app. The only way of recording is to put a memory card in. We never put memory cards in. We did order the memory cards, but they never got in because we took them down before that. Because we had them up, we can't return them. And I was in the process of purchasing some indoor cameras for my home as well. So what I did is I contacted our treasurer and I said, well, I have the invoices, I will pay you what the senior center paid for these. And that way the senior center is not losing any funds on it. So I have written a personal check to the senior center to reimburse the senior center. They were ordered on the senior center's credit card, so they were ordered properly. All reports were filled out and given to the treasurer.
Okay, so I believe for our part, please chime in on this. I believe what we're concerned about is what our involvement was, what the town's involvement was, because it's a town building. And the only thing I'm aware of was when I was down at the senior center a couple of weeks ago, I heard that you were talking about installing cameras, or maybe, I don't know if you'd installed them yet at that point. But you were talking about installing cameras and it had nothing to do with the town. That was all I knew about it. So apparently they have come and gone.
Right.
Um,
They were strictly done with the idea of the safety. I mean, we have 90-year-old people in there that are in there all day long. Somebody could come in the building and, cause harm to them and take off. I mean, we've got large TVs in there, we've got computers, we've got equipment in there. That's, you never know what's gonna happen. I mean, I know this especially because I live on Myrtle Road, and 2 years ago, everybody knows what happened on Myrtle Road. And it was totally unexpected. You don't know when it's gonna happen. So we were concerned for these older people.
okay, Judy, you have anything to add to the conversation?
No, the pictures are of the cameras, the pictures of the notice, and the bill number 2155. As I spoke to Karen, it does not apply to senior centers. One of the cameras does have a blue light on it. I don't know what Mr. Degata ordered. All I know is the cameras were put up. And if there was or was not video, but if there was video on a card, I don't know how you would retrieve that because I was videoed because I went in there. So
Well,
I have no idea.
clearly the town of Willington has nothing. And from what Mr. Degata is saying is there were no recordings made. So that's all we know.
That's all, I mean, if it was, they were recorded, if there wasn't, but one of the cameras has a blue light. And usually a blue light sometimes indicates that a recording is happening. So my concern is if there is recordings, what is Mr. Degata doing with the recordings before he took the cameras down?
Again, I understand your concern, but that's,
So, and if
That's
if the
not our-
cameras were not authorized by the town officials to begin with, um, what action is being taken other than to take them down? So,
well, I don't honestly know, I don't know if there is any particular language in the various agreements about using the building that say that the senior center can't install cameras. Or would need Board of Selectmen approval, I just don't know the answer to that. As far as the blue light, I would have no idea what the functionality is for those particular cameras. I know that my particular cameras, the blue light. Does two things. It blinks when it's charging and it goes on steady when it's fully charged. That's all, that's what I know. I don't know what that particular camera does. That's what mine does. So.
my concern is if it wasn't authorized by the town official, why was it installed to begin with?
Right.
And like I say, for the potential of videoing, and it does have, I think it would have audio. So, that's my concern as far as, if it's not authorized, why was it installed to begin with?
Well, that may, I can look into what the agreements are between the town and the seniors on using the building. And then be able to determine if there's any restriction on that. And that would determine whether we have to get involved in that. Otherwise, it may just be an internal thing within the senior center people about why the cameras are installed. So I will look into what agreements we have and if they speak to this, if it would require our acknowledgement or permission.
Carrie was signed on too, I don't know if she.
Just signed in, you said?
She just signed a Casey.
Probably if I put my glasses on, I'd be better off.
That one I still can't see.
Karen, that's you.
Karen Cody, are you on?
Ask questions too? Oh, of course. No, Mr. Deotti, you said that we decided, who is the we?
The executive board,
The executive board.
right, I did not order the cameras without going to the executive
Okay.
board and
And the executive board must have felt confident that this is something that was in
in the
their
best.
purview, that this is something that they could do.
Right,
No one said, oh, no, we're crossing a line here. So you must have felt.
we did know.
And what other type of routine maintenance has the executive board authorized? Is that a common thing? I don't know how it works, so.
We take care of, the transportation, the drivers and things like that as well.
Anything on the building
On
specific?
the building
Yeah.
specific,
Like gutter maintenance or anything?
no, that's all done by the town.
That's all done by the town. So this was an installation that was, it sounds like it might be a little bit different that the executive board decided on. And I'm not saying that you did it knowingly, just, it does sound like it might be a little bit different than what the executive board would normally
Well,
take on.
when we were talking about it, we expressed the concern because there are older
Sure.
people there and we
Yeah.
felt that this would give them some sense of security.
I understand the motivation. No, I'm just curious about how the executive board worked. And regarding the blue light, would it give you, if we could determine that a blue light on this camera, it just means that it's on, would that satisfy? Mr. Tagata has said that there was no SIM card, so there was no ability to record, and there was no cloud authorized, and so he's saying nobody could record. You were referencing that the blue light was what made you feel you were being recorded. Would it give you peace of mind if it could be determined that that's not what a blue light means? I don't know a lot about security cameras.
I don't either.
It could just be a pilot light too.
Yeah, I mean, I recognize your concern. I just would like to know what sort of evidence would allay those fears? If there is any.
I don't know the system that he bought.
I don't,
you would have to ask him
Yeah, but
to
if we could
provide-
find that out,
to
would that make you
provide
feel better?
the directions and to say, you know, you install it, if the blue light is on, then it's active and it's recording. I don't know the system, all I know is I saw a blue light,
Mhm.
which on some camera systems indicates that they are active. But that would be looking at the directions of what he purchased.
Sure.
And I would also am concerned that if there was no authorization from the town council to put the cameras up, would the town council be authorizing a normal security system, which you have in many of your town buildings that goes to a security company that reviews these? Maybe that would be something to look into, other than a person deciding to put these cameras up and having them potentially linked to a phone or a home computer. I do believe in your town office buildings, you have a security system with
Sure.
cameras that goes to a security company that, you know, retrieves the information, stores it, archives it.
We're
Like
being
most-
recorded right
like-
now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It would be something of that nature that, you know, the town council would approve,
Mhm.
so
All right. Thank you.
you're welcome. And I don't also understand, using in reference bill number 21-55 that applies to short-term, long-term residential facilities and or hospitals of that nature. And after speaking to Karen Cody, she said it is not referencing senior centers. So,
Again, that has nothing to do with us. We
oh,
weren't.
no, I understand that but the reasoning, I guess, behind also, my understanding is talking to Karen, the reasoning behind putting up the cameras in the senior center was because of the bill number 21-55. So.
Yes, I understand that, but again, that has nothing, we have no understanding of why that was chosen or.
I don't either.
We
so
did
that's
not
why-
participate in
Yeah,
that.
that's why I was just asking Karen about, so.
Yeah.
The reason we were referencing 2155 is it's called the Granny Cam bill. And basically, it's for that purpose that I stated earlier, to protect seniors. Against attacks, things like that. And that's why we thought that it's a gray area there, we're a senior center, we do have people come in. Even though we're not a housing facility or something like that, we thought that, oh, it's a gray area, maybe that it fits.
And then you were advised that that wasn't a good. fit.
Right, and then when we revised that didn't fit, then the cameras came down.
Okay. Okay. All right, any other questions?
Yeah. Mr. DeGata, the camera's battery powered or are they hardwired?
They're battery powered.
Okay. And they're Wi-Fi cameras, so you have a Wi-Fi network, I assume, at the senior center?
Yes,
So you could pick up these cameras by the computer and,
no, they only go to a phone, they can't attach to a computer.
even if they're Wi-Fi?
Even if they're Wi-Fi, you can't pick up the signal the way they work.
Okay. My understanding of video cameras is the blue light could simply mean that it's on.
Right.
Usually it's a flashing red when it's recorded. So,
When it's charging, it's a blue flashing light,
Right.
and when it's fully recorded, it just stays solid blue.
I mean,
The other thing is, we have talked in the seniors, and we've gone out and gotten quotes on putting a security, safety system into the senior center, which would include cameras and monitoring. So that has been in the works, and this was one of the things we figured we'd try, you know, see how it worked and what kind of response we get from the seniors, because knowing that something like this is gonna go in.
there's no, from my perspective, having a video, you know, a full video, audio recording of what's going on is only good after the fact, as far as an incident. Nobody's monitoring these cameras on a constant basis to try to intervene in something.
Well, the system that we're looking at includes panic buttons. So if something were going on and somebody hit the panic button, the monitoring agency would automatically go to go to the feed to see what's going on.
Right, but you,
But that's not this
not,
system.
that's not what this was.
That's not what this one was now.
Okay,
What brand were they?
What's that?
What brand of cameras? Remember?
Yeah,
that would come from John.
SKIVIO mini Wi-Fi camera, 2K HD tiny cam.
SKIVIO,
SIKVIO.
SIKVIO, just.
Right.
Here.
It's called a nanny cam.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else on this? Judy, I'll work with Karen and determine what the agreements are between the town and the use of the building, and if something like this has to have permission from the board of selectmen or whatever. Okay,
Now, if permission were granted to do this,
I can't hear.
if permission were granted by the town and authorized the senior center to install some sort of video surveillance, would you have a problem?
No, as long as it's a security company, that it would be like your regular town buildings, that it would be handled by, like a third party. It wouldn't be going to someone's personal phone and or computer.
The only reason it went to my personal phone is because that's the only way you can set them up.
But it's not, is it recording video on your phone?
No, it doesn't record.
It's just the setup.
It's just the setup and you can see, it's like,
you can view instant.
you can
live.
view instant, but it doesn't record.
Okay, so you can do live, but you can't. You're not-
Right,
You're not
exactly.
recording to your phone. That should put your mind at ease a little bit.
Hmm.
As far as, it's not recording to his phone. There's no recording on his phone.
Well, and the system's removed from the building too, so.
So it's moved. Yeah, anyway.
Okay,
Okay, I'm good.
anything else? I'd like to move on. All right. Item 9B, holiday calendar for board of selectmen.
Can I bring up one thing under 9A?
Oh, yes.
When do we have to come to you now? Before we go out to purchase a surveillance system, because the board felt that this was important as far as security goes and the safety of the seniors.
That's why I said before, I'm gonna work with Karen to determine if there are any requirements for us to approve.
Okay.
Something going
And
forward.
you will get back to us.
Yep,
Okay,
Yep, I'll let everybody know.
okay, great.
All right. Holiday calendar. We all have had the chance to ruminate over this for a couple of weeks. If you're ready, I move that we accept the 25, 26, which is really the 2026 holidays. As presented.
The Fridays that are closed, my only question, those would apply then mostly to the business office, correct?
Public works.
And public works.
Right. And that is, some people on the 4-day schedule.
Yeah.
Could potentially perceive that as they're missing out.
Yeah, well, that's
But that was part of the discussion when they went to the 4-day schedule, knowing that they would miss some Friday holidays.
Yeah.
And the trade-off is they work a 4-day work week.
Absolutely.
So you give some, you gain here, lose there.
Yeah, yeah, no, just making sure I understood.
The finance office will be closed for this.
On those holiday
And
Fridays.
you said, and public.
Public. Yep.
Just curious, when there's a holiday and a snowstorm, for instance, and Public Works is before they deploy, and do they
Yep.
get,
They get extra pay.
they get extra pay, or can they opt for a comp day or something? Is there any?
I don't know all the details of the
Okay.
contract, but they do get something
They
extra.
get, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
just curious.
Any more discussion on the calendar?
No, you made a motion, I second the motion, it hasn't been seconded.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, now we're on to C. The meeting schedule for regular meetings. First and third Mondays typically, except where it intersects with holidays. And I will move that we accept it as presented. Thank you, Ralph, for the edit.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on the regular meeting schedule? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I meant to do that CSP report during the first Selectmen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just saw the paperwork,
Well, there.
sorry.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Doing a good world.
All right, so we're just gonna be in a holding pattern for a moment while we wait for Ralph to return. Don't make any decisions without him.
Yeah, I have cameras at home, just with the phone, they don't record to the phone, they're recorded in the SD card of the camera. I access it through the camera, but they're not actually held on my phone. Yeah. I have new feeds,
You have what?
EUFY.
Oh, I thought you said you have newbies. I'm like, when can I come over and play with them?
I wish I had
I,
new feeds. I like new feeds,
My dream dog.
yeah. My nephew has a Great Pyrenees.
Oh, that's my second in
They're
command.
pretty
Yeah.
cool.
No.
we're on, we're in, keep in mind, we're in a public meeting. All right. And we're being recorded.
Yes, I know. It's better than.
All right, carrying on.
Carrying on.
Yep. Okay. Next item is D, the SBC charge. I do see we have a few different documents to reference here. Just as meeting was starting, I printed a copy of the old.
Yep.
Previous SBC charge.
But it's just adopted 2025, so you're just,
No. This is a draft.
this
This is a draft. That's the
Got it.
one I emailed you.
And
as
this
a
is
draft
the old
version.
one.
That is the old one.
I got
You'll
it.
see that it has a 2020 date on it.
Yeah, now I see it.
Yep,
And then these are Ralph's changes.
that was for reference, and then Ralph, you wanna explain your, paper here?
But first, I'd like to make a motion that we accept Ralph's edits or proposal into the minutes.
I
Don't do
don't,
that?
I don't think that's appropriate, we have all sort of documents to discuss. I don't think they need to go in the minutes.
I thought we had to have
It's
them in the
just
minutes to
no.
discuss them, no? Okay.
No,
My
no,
bad.
no, this isn't, this is,
Just a discussion point.
right, yeah, the ones I sent you aren't being necessarily put in the minutes either.
Okay,
It's just discussion
all right.
materials. So Ralph, why don't you go ahead and explain your document?
I was basically following along with the previous school building charge.
Yep.
But we know that we have two different reimbursement rates. We have one for new school, new site. We have a different rate for, in addition to hall along with upgrades to the building.
Yes, well, I wouldn't say new school, new site, new school building, a new build. It could be on the same site. And actually, that's a third possibility, because if you build on the same site, then the demolition of the current hall school would be included. So your
Understood.
rate spreads differently.
But where do you put the students if you demolish all school?
Well, you would build a new school first. In that case, in that scenario, we have a lot of different potential scenarios.
Yes, the point that I was trying to make here, yes. And if we were to completely demolish hall, then a new school building applies. May not be a new site, but.
Right, yeah, right, yeah, right.
But there is also the opportunity to add on to hall
Right, yes,
and to do some upgrades to the building,
yes,
which gets us, in some respects, a higher reimbursement rate,
yes,
depending on how things shake out financially. What I was trying to do with this was to make it clear that that's an option that's going to be available to the school building committee.
yes, and that will be, sorry, fire department's going on call. Yes, that and potentially other things will be discussed by the school building committee, right? Which I think is available in all of the different versions of the charges we've talked about.
Well, can you help me understand this line then? And it's not the purpose of the SPC to evaluate renovations within the existing schools?
Yeah, I have hard
Doesn't
work
that,
with that
doesn't
one
that
too.
conflict with what you just said?
Okay,
Wouldn't
so
any
I figured that,
addition be a
I figured that might, and that would be. Again, I got a lot of different suggestions of things. And looked at what some other towns did. So the purpose of that line, it's not the purpose, is to prevent getting mired, especially with the short schedule we have. In things that, we already know are not cost effective. So the idea of just renovating the two schools and doing. You know, like doing HVAC upgrades and putting new roofs on and all that. That. Does not need, the school building committee doesn't need to spend time on that, because that's been heavily evaluated and it is extremely different reimbursement rate.
Yes, no, okay, I guess the word renovations probably speaks differently to people.
Right.
And say,
The
well, yeah,
majority of that work's not even eligible for reimbursement.
right, so, but I guess people might think that, well, they're putting on an addition to all school as a new build. Many people would call that a renovation. I wonder if there's a more. I don't know.
Well, that's why it said renovation within the existing schools, but
I
again,
guess so.
wording can be interpreted different ways.
Yeah, I just think that when people are reading
Right.
that, they're gonna say, wait a minute, the town meeting.
So,
they
I
said
mean,
we
you could even just take that line out and the school building committee
No.
would hopefully then,
Add one word to that
Okay.
first sentence.
okay.
It is not the purpose of the SBT to evaluate only renovations.
I like
within
that,
the existing
only
schools.
renovation.
Well, that's already known, because we're talking about, because what most of the conversation is already about is a major new construction. So you don't even have to say it at that point.
We're speaking to a very broad audience and not everyone is as well versed on the subject as we are.
Okay, so what you're saying is that would catch the people who think that we should only be talking about renovations to the schools. That's what you're saying is by.
That's what I'm trying to say,
Persons need
yes.
to evaluate. To only evaluate or evaluate only?
Something like that, I mean,
Evaluate only.
yeah, it's my old song that at these school
Okay.
building committees, it's the same
Gotcha.
people that we see.
To evaluate only renovations within the
Right.
existing schools.
And then we get a 40% turnout at the referendum. That's not the 40% of the population that's at the meetings.
Right,
That's the people that are reacting to. it.
right, so we're trying to make sure we're saying things that
As
are as
accurately.
broad as possible. Okay, gotcha.
There's another item that, I think probably needs to be looked at. I think with the disposition of the building, but one thing that I'm not seeing is, what Ralph just said, if let's say that the Hall School property is where the new school is
Yeah.
gonna go. They can't coexist simultaneously. I mean, you can't build a new school while the old school is still there. It doesn't.
Well, you'd have to build it next to it.
And
But is that even possible? And all right, so if that's true. All right, so. Is there enough room to build?
Well, that's the school building committee's job to figure
Well,
out.
maybe,
Right, I mean,
okay,
as long as we charge them with the
Okay.
right task,
all right.
they'll figure that out.
That's one thing also I think that should certainly be part of the conversation in regards to any sort of financial transparency. I don't know how long it takes to build a new school, 5 years,
20 months.
20 months.
Yeah.
Start to finish.
Yep.
So that is a school year.
Well, it's almost
It's
two.
two.
Almost two, so,
Yeah.
2 school years.
Yeah.
There will be, what, I think someone needs to look at what sort of maintenance is going to have to be done on the schools within that 20-month period, because there will be some, and there will be costs involved.
might be a roof.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, so you can
There's
say,
no
well,
way a roof's gonna get done when you're
Yeah.
building a new school.
Well,
First of all, the
that's-
state won't approve it. We'd have to pay for it out of pocket.
but what happens if the roof is leaking so badly?
They'll
that-
have to continue to be getting patched.
Yes, okay, but I mean, even that costs money, so I think there needs to be some sort of recognition that the schools aren't, while the children are in them, the schools are not free of maintenance, just because we're spending millions, and $1 million, I mean, it's a lot of money to me, but in most building repairs, it doesn't really go a long way.
Unfortunately, you're right.
You know, heating systems are hundreds of thousands of dollars and roof repairs are tens of thousands of dollars, so we are going to be spending taxpayer money on maintaining the
So
school.
there is the line in the proposed language I sent out, line 10, identify basic level potential future uses and order of magnitude costs, but that does not cover carrying costs.
Right, that's, I just think it should be
So,
just a mindful thing that when we are talking about the money.
so maybe there should be another line here that is, identify carrying
Well,
and maintenance
I'm
costs.
I'm not sure that that's necessarily the charge of the school building committee.
Okay,
But I think it might be a charge of the selectmen to make sure that we recognize it and we're not silent in that subject.
okay.
So when it comes time to talk about budgeting and costs, we know, yes, we project that for the 20 months that the new school is being built, we expect to spend X amount of dollars on maintaining the
My
current.
items 10 and 12 covered that.
You think that your items 10 as well?
Hmm.
Well, that's future uses, not current.
No,
Okay.
no,
No?
decommissioning costs for both schools,
Well, but if they're actively in it, that's not really a decommission cost, is it?
but there will be. When we move into whatever.
He's talking about what are you gonna carry while you're still in construction?
I
What is it gonna
understand,
cost?
that should be in Board of Ed's budget though, shouldn't it?
Yes, but I think it's part of this conversation.
The
That's
one
all
thing
I'm
that
saying.
The key is to not tie down the committee with
I
too
don't-
much other.
We don't, I'm not saying it should be a
So we
charge.
have to figure out who's gonna do
No, I'm
it.
not saying it should be a part of the SBC. I just think it needs to be part of the conversation.
Alright,
Because I think those are the kind of things that came up. It's like, well, how much is it costing to maintain the schools while we're building? That needs to be talked about in the realm of financing.
so let's note it aside, so we don't.
Something like that.
Uh,
And I also would like to talk about what Matt's suggestion was. So one of the things that I sort of see even in the, you know, the emergency services facility building committee and others, when you're talking a project of this magnitude, there's a lot of administrative function that has to happen within this building and with all these other departments. And I don't think that's a reasonable request for the volunteers on the committee. They're already giving up a lot of time. Then you say, oh, by the way, we need to find this out from the business office. Well, who's going to do that?
So that is, I think that's. A really good point that was also a lesson learned on the last school
Mhm.
building committee. And that was we, out of all good intentions, tried really hard to manage everything.
Right.
We had a finance subcommittee, we
Yeah.
had all kinds of stuff.
Mhm.
And what we really didn't do was we didn't leverage the owner's project manager,
Mhm.
which is exactly, they're supposed to be the person we hire to manage all this stuff.
Right.
And we, again, with good intentions, managed a lot of that locally,
Yeah.
and we actually probably made it muddier.
Yeah.
And we tied up a lot of time and effort with volunteers,
Mhm.
so getting a good OPM on board early should be able to manage that, and I think the difference from this time compared to last time is we had a very good owner's project manager, but that person misunderstood Wellington. That person had just had incredible success in Mansfield and assumed that we would just flow the way Mansfield did. And I think that was too easy to follow, and some of us didn't realize it, and some people did realize it. And tried to pull that back a little bit or shed light on other things. It created sort of divisions even within the SBC.
Right.
So we need to do a better job, I think, of putting the owner's project manager to work and making sure they don't come in with preconceived notions.
Hmm.
That's in my mind.
And the OPM should be working for the committee. And anything connecting the OPM to the superintendent has to go through the committee. Because I think, from my perspective, being on that committee, that there was too much going on outside the committee's awareness. Between the superintendent and the OPM.
Good observation.
And I think it's important that the OPM represents the town of Wellington, the taxpayers, because we're the ones that are going to be paying for this.
And and through the representation of that SBC.
Right.
Not the Board of Ed, who have their representatives too, but it's.
Yeah.
There's a reason why an SBC's been created, and it isn't just under the auspices of the Board of Ed.
Alone,
It's
yeah.
supposed to be a separate entity, and that makes sense to me.
Then the other thing, yeah, my item 12 is. If we have a vacant building or buildings, they are going to cost us. Yes,
Right.
you're not gonna
Well, right,
shut the water off, turn the power off and let them go cold.
Right,
right.
so that's in number 10 of the one I sent out. Identify basic level potential future uses of the two current school buildings, which would be whichever one ends up empty. I mean, you just apply it as applicable. And
That
order of
talks about
magnitude
uses.
costs, right?
Order of magnitude costs for.
The future uses, so it should say, and carrying costs. Right?
Right.
That would be better, yes.
And carrying costs.
I think that there is just,
I don't know if that's particularly pertinent to the SBC.
maybe not.
As you're trying to do to streamline what they have to do.
Right.
So maybe that
But-
should go in this other thing, just like what are we gonna do to carry the buildings during the work also?
Right. Well, it's human nature that if I'm head of the Board of Ed. And the townspeople agree to say a new school in a new location. I'm gonna say, we're not spending a dime on that old building, and yet. The students are still in it, it's still
Yeah.
under their control, so then they're gonna say, we don't wanna spend any of our money because we're getting a new school, we wanna save it for that. We're gonna hand it off to the town, and then the town will be saddled with a building with a leaky roof, and because now it's 24 months older. I mean, it's human nature to think that way, I would.
Yeah, my point is, one of the things that did not help the last effort was the fact there were costs that we knew we were going to incur that we could not quantify and put in front of the taxpayer.
Yeah,
And you can't go to the taxpayer
Nope.
and say, all right, we're gonna spend $60 million to build this building.
Yeah.
But we don't know what we're gonna do with the old one.
So how about this? So we don't saddle the SBC with the work. Why don't we have a line in here that SBC will seek information from the Board of Selectmen about these costs?
Something like that.
And that way we can do a little side work
Yeah.
on gathering that information.
So, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of departments that are gonna have to support the SPC in order for them to get their work done. Everybody's gonna have to do a little bit of extra work, Board of Finance, Business Office, us three.
Yes,
It's a short time frame, and if we want to get something, we're all gonna have to put in some extra effort.
but we've gotta pass it in referendum, and if it's going to referendum, we gotta have the answers to the
Absolutely.
questions that the public are going to ask.
You know, and you've gotta get that information out quickly, and so people have time to digest it. Can't be done the night of the referendum, gotta have it out early.
Because there will be naysayers out there,
Yeah, there's gonna be
Indeed.
naysayers.
some local ones.
Even though we are in a once in a lifetime situation about reimbursement rate, which will convert a lot of people, there will still be people who say, hey, hang on a second, we gotta get the rest of this right.
Yeah,
Or some people who don't matter, they would be, even if you paid them to put a school in, they don't feel we need a school.
No, that's right.
And I'm not picking on them, I'm just saying there are some people.
And
So they all deserve some explanation.
everyone deserves explanations.
All right, so I'm adding in this draft right now for discussion, I'm adding a new 11. The 11 becomes 12. The 11 is seek from Board of Selectmen costs to carry existing buildings during construction. And once vacated. Yes?
and cost to Read that back to me, so I can.
C from Board of Selectmen, costs to carry existing during construction and
As well as carrying costs once vacated.
once vacated. Yep. Yep. Obviously, I'll clean the language, I'm shorthanding it.
I know.
And then it would be, who's? It would be what, would we create a new committee to determine what to do with all?
Well, I think,
If a new building is off, right?
I think we could attempt to
getting off
discuss
topic.
it. We could attempt to discuss it within our board, and if we can't do it within our board, we'll seek
Yeah.
a new path.
It's off
We
topic.
should be talking to a realtor. About marketing these buildings.
We should.
That's what I was thinking.
Because
Well, you had mentioned it once, Mike, about how some towns lease out some of their municipal properties to, low impact occupancies to help defray some of the costs. Makes sense.
I saw a facility that was a giant facility that was built. The people who built it were overly optimistic, not in a town around here, but it was studied as a reuse thing.
Yeah.
And the people who built it as a combination of a mix of different uses in the building.
Yeah, right,
And they overshot it and they went bankrupt.
okay.
But what happened was someone bought it in the bankruptcy, identified a reuse for it, and they basically turned most of the square footage into storage units.
Wow.
And so when you pull up to the outside of the building, it's still beautiful on the outside. It looks exactly, and they are making the money to maintain it instead of it being a forlorn property. And you go through these amazing glass front doors into this lobby, and there's a person sitting there who says, welcome to Stocking Lot, or whatever. But they kept the building from falling into disrepair.
Yeah, man. And those are
And
definitely,
Welcome to the beautiful lobby of Stocking Lot.
yeah,
which
right.
actually something like that. if
For the record, it wasn't Stocking Lot, it was something similar.
But it would also take property out, put it into, well.
Potentially paying property taxes.
Yeah, right,
But
yeah.
if it's a business, then it's not gonna be tax exempt,
Right.
because it was a school.
Right, exactly.
So what I've
Something to
done.
explore.
What I've done so far with the draft I sent you was I added that word only in this paragraph here. And I added a new item 11 that we just talked about. Are we getting close?
Yes, it would be nudging this committee into getting an OPM on board. Immediately.
Well, and that comes to interim appointments, which we'll be talking about in a moment. The interview committee. Andy will speak for the interview committee, but they were prepared as of this afternoon to suggest the first two interim appointments, so the committee can start getting some admin work done. And we'll talk about that in the next item on our agenda. And how that would roll out, what's next.
Good.
Do we feel okay with these changes? Do we think that's a charge that we can support?
Let me see the finished language.
Sure.
No. After you,
Oh.
I can act on it tomorrow. If you can do it tomorrow.
Well, we have to act in a meeting.
Oh, we can.
All right. So this was seek from the Board of Selectmen cost to carry the existing buildings.
That's in parentheses for now.
Yes, building parentheses as during construction and once vacated.
Go with that. So we'll probably.
Yeah, obviously it would get emailed back out to you all tomorrow, cleaned up.
And the last thing that I believe in the meeting that was held in Hall School. I don't remember exactly who was guiding that conversation. But there was talk that any major additions, new construction additions to Hall School would likely mean that the students couldn't be in there while it
Yes.
was taking place. So what is the cost and how does that
So
even
that,
work?
that would have to be talked about by the committee, because that is one of the factors that would go into deciding which paths are viable
Sure.
paths.
Sure.
And one of the challenges there was they talked about portable classrooms, and that was gonna be $1 million a year for the 2 years to rent portable classrooms.
Right.
And I believe, if I remember correctly, portable classrooms and swing space are not reimbursable.
Right.
So that $1 million a year, that $2 million is added on to the taxpayers' bill.
Right.
Is that what you remember?
It was something along the way. I don't remember the numbers, but I knew there was a cost involved. I couldn't quite remember what it was. Are there any other options? But anyway, that's something that the school building committee would determine and weigh that into the overall
Right.
price tag for the various.
Right.
Courses of action.
It was my experience at Center to watch an addition being built. It was my experience at Hall for over a year, watching the first edition being built. And it was very influential on my career path. Construction, to a lot of boys,
Yeah.
some women, is fascinating to watch and very insightful. And I think opens their eyes to a possible career path. And the one thing this country needs badly are good tradespeople.
But we can't put that in the charge.
No, I know we can't put that in charge. I understand that, Mike. My point being, I don't think that having the students in the building for a substantial chunk of the construction is detrimental to their learning process.
But it would be
Maybe to the teachers.
it would be very difficult to have them in the building in this day and age with liability and all the other stuff. Plus, you're gonna be disturbing PCBs and lead and asbestos and all that stuff when you start construction.
There may be ways to make.
On top of the fact is we got notified today of radon problems in Hall School. So we're at an uphill battle.
Where and so,
I'm waiting for a report. I don't know.
let them know.
I got an email this afternoon saying
Take it
there's a
down.
report coming. So,
It wouldn't surprise me in the tunnel, wouldn't surprise me in the boiler room. I don't think you find it.
we'll know soon.
Yeah.
Mike,
So maybe the school kids being next door to a new construction going on. And being able to see it, and maybe even making that part of it, make some lesson in that construction.
That would be great.
You could come do a speech about engineering.
Wouldn't
You
know.
could.
I wouldn't know when to shut
As a-
up. That's my problem.
Regardless, as an alum. Right?
Yes.
I can talk about living through the 1981 renovation of Hall School. See that?
I was out of there by then.
I was there. I graduated in 81, that
Oh, okay.
renovation. No, I wasn't there for that other old renovation. You were there for. Sorry, I digress. Did you have something on this
do you
topic?
mind if yeah, it is, it's kind of a Board of Finance, related thing. I just, the talk about taking care of the buildings while they're underway.
Identify yourself, please.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Ma'am.
Steph Summers.
Oh,
Did you name her? You call me.
are you chair of Board of Finance?
I happen to be,
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Now that's on the record.
and I'm also a resident, so. Thank you. I'm just wondering if the SBC needs to worry or be weighed down at all with the status quo that we do every year after year, every year to maintain the buildings while they're being used, of course. And, I understand looking to the future uses, that kind of thing, other wrinkles. But it feels like as they're being built, that's the kind of thing that we already have the infrastructure.
I think what we worked out for language resolves your concern.
Do you-
What we worked out for language
sounded like
actually is,
Ask them to do both a little.
well, no, what it says is that the school building committee would seek from the Board of Selectmen. In other words, the Board of Selectmen would gather together the information from CIP, from the Board of Ed maintenance budget, and hand off some overview to the committee. So they would just receive an overview and say, oh, here's our information. They wouldn't tie up committee time
would be
gathering.
deciding what we do when we're,
No,
Yeah,
just
okay.
because that committee is gonna be charged and will be expected to do outreach.
right,
And we all know we wanna do even better on outreach this time. So if they have that information, people are gonna ask.
so they'll be in the know
They'll
about
have-
what's happening with
right.
the status quo.
Right, they can present the bigger picture.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, yes,
I was just trying to look at.
you are correct.
Keep the charge like really
Yeah.
focused
Yeah.
on
Yep.
what they're doing.
Well, because every committee member is an advocate for that committee to everybody they contact with in town.
Sure.
They should have all of the information, even if they don't know exactly, they can say, I don't know that exact number, but I know where to get it. And I know you could ask the Board of Selectmen and they have it. I mean, even if you say that much, it gives someone who isn't part of the committee and isn't watching the meetings confidence that at least people know what's going on and where to find the information.
Right.
We don't like to say it has to be sold, but it needs to be, everyone needs to be very clear and knowledgeable about what the facts are about the financing of this kind of thing. And all those permutations.
For the purpose of seeing where we are, I'm going to move that we accept the draft charge as modified tonight.
I'll second.
All right. Discussion of where we are.
I think we've discussed it.
Okay. Seeing that, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you all. That was some excellent input all around. And I'm gonna keep the notes from Matt's conversation and all our other notes as we go along here. Make sure we include it all in our thoughts. Okay, SBC appointments. So today, the three people that were originally impaneled by the previous Board of Selectmen, which was Matt Clark, Andy Marco, and Troy, the Public Works Director,
Rosado.
spent the entire afternoon in Zoom interviews, interviewing every one of the people who applied except one who wasn't available today, and that person said they can only assume an alternate seat anyway. So the plan is for that one person to get interviewed tomorrow. In the interim, the group has some results to share, right? Andy, do you want to?
We do, I'd be
Okay.
happy to, yeah, so,
Okay.
as, First Selectman just stated, Matt Clark, myself, Troy Spizzato. Interviewed through Zoom, the candidates that had put their applications in, and everyone.
And
10,
I think.
not 7, 9 or
10
10
slots.
And
Yeah.
everyone has something to offer. It was actually rather delightful to speak to so many residents that are genuinely interested and seem quite passionate about the cause. It was nice to hear the conversations and ask the questions. The first selectman had told us that the state statute for a school building committee requires that the Board of Education chair and one construction expert, or expert for lack of a better word, those are requirements for the committee. And in the interest of time, the selection committee, and I believe in concert with at least with the first selectman, haven't talked to Selectman Tulish yet about it, that those, since the BOE chair is an automatic, we did not have to interview that person. But the construction expert, we did, and we came to a decision that in order to get things rolling and really put it into place and things can begin, that we recommended that Adam Brewer, I believe his name is, I don't have the resume in front of me,
Yes.
Brewer, be the construction expert to partner initially with the BOE chair. We will then, the three of us, the selection committee we're going to convene. We've set a tentative date for Thursday, which we both think is possible, and we will come up with the remaining names. What we don't know is how many people, we're just going to, I think, sort of rank them somehow. We haven't really determined that yet. Everyone has different skill sets that they bring to the table, and it needs to be an appropriate mix of experts in the field, educators, maybe general taxpayers, whatever. And we will, I don't know if we're going to decide on the committee makeup this evening, it doesn't have to be done. But, or at least our tentative discussion tonight was on Thursday, we will meet. It will be this week, Thursday or Friday, I think we're still working on our personal schedules. And sort of weigh all the remaining applicants and, that's it.
Thank you. I would suggest maybe where that leaves us is in the interest of time and not missing. It's 2+ weeks to get through the holidays. That we would, if this group feels okay with it, we would approve the initial appointment of the two, which would be Brianna Ross as Board of Ed Chair. She does have the right at some point down the road to designate someone in her stead. But the law, as was said by Andy, the law requires the Board of Ed Chair or designee and one person with construction expertise to have a committee. So we would make initial appointments tonight, then the committee can get started, they can start gathering start looking at other information, maybe start talking about how they want to get started. And in the meantime, as the holidays go on, we would have the remaining information from the interview panel pulled in. And by the time we have our next meeting, we could make the rest of the appointments. And really, we just have to decide how many people we're gonna appoint, maybe voting versus alternate and things like that.
So,
Maybe we need the list. If they decided someone's disqualified, I don't remember exactly what our numbers are. We maybe have, including Brianna, maybe we have 12 people total, but I'd have to go back and look. I don't remember now.
I think
it was 10 interviews today, plus the one missing is 11, plus Brianna Ross is 12. Okay. We certainly don't want 12 voting members. I think we learned last time having 11 voting members made it kind of unwieldy. And it also meant you had to have 6 people for quorum. Or maybe it
I
was,
don't think we ever had a problem
Hmm.
reaching a quorum.
So I don't know, maybe we should have an odd number so we don't have deadlocks.
Maybe one thing I think we were, it's a little education heavy on the list. Building committee.
I think you would see in this group more construction and budget experience. And
yes, we had an interesting, some interesting candidates with, some real world experiments, experience working with, municipalities, working with, state and federal governments. And some people specifically with schools, and it's an interesting mix of people with construction experience.
Do I have all of their resumes? Okay.
We did think, we have applications, not resumes.
Well, a lot of them
They
had
all
resumes.
attach resumes.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah, there were only 1 or 2 people who didn't include a resume, but they had like a
Yeah.
cover letter.
Yeah.
There were
couple
only-
letters.
Right, and then you had Brianna Ross, that's 12,
12,
because I had already talked to her because she was automatic.
Yeah.
We didn't go through
There's no reason to.
Right.
I
Okay.
sent you the email.
No, I know, I do. I gotta get in the habit of.
reading
checking my-
emails.
No, checking my town email.
Yes,
Yes,
that's why I
yeah.
sent things.
It takes me an hour to clean out my professional and personal email.
Yeah, I sent it to
Okay.
you with, all of the resumes and applications attached.
I saw that, I checked about an hour before tonight's meeting.
Yeah. So they're all there for you.
They're all there.
I will review them and
So,
as appropriate.
do we want to try to set the size of the committee right now, or do we want to wait on that? And do we want to just do the 2 appointments so they could get started?
I would prefer to just do the 2 appointments at this juncture, and if we
Okay.
need to have a special meeting next week, fine.
All right. So I'm going to move that we make an appointment for the interim school building committee of Brianna Ross, representing the Board of Education.
I second that.
We're doing more at a time.
Yeah, one at a time.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
You? Then I'll move that we appoint Adam Brewer also to the interim school building committee as a representative with construction experience.
You say it. You know, I don't know.
Somebody
You've
second.
met him, you second.
I second that.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. We have our first two members of the school building committee, and between now and the next meeting, we will all gather our thoughts on how many people will be on the committee, voting and alternates or whatever we think the makeup should be. And for our next meeting, we'll plan to do the remaining appointments. How far is it date wise till our next meeting? Is it
I
actually,
forgot, where's that?
hang on,
It's on
No.
our calendar.
because it's just first and thirds.
January 5th is our next meeting.
So it's 1, 2, 3.
We gotta do it.
It's 3 weeks. That's a little long.
That's a little
So
long.
maybe we should, once you get the list,
I
we'll
will-
call a special meeting.
I will,
And we'll do the remaining appointments. So in between, we should gather our thoughts on what we want the makeup of the committee to be. Okay, yeah, I think wait 3 weeks is too long. They,
Way too long.
two people, they need support. They need helpers. And then they can that'll give time to get people sworn in and all that other stuff that has to happen.
mhm.
And as far as their meeting calendar, they ought to be careful about how they schedule their meetings so that it doesn't
I think,
conflict with.
I think Sunday at noon is still available.
Sunday,
Yeah.
Yes,
as long as it's properly
Well,
warned.
that was in our interview questions, and one of the things that we definitely talked about, you do realize this is a very deep commitment.
Right.
And it goes beyond just the referendum, it isn't. It
Yes.
isn't, once the referendum passes, the school building committee dissolves, it's
It gets even
it
worse.
gets right, then it really becomes and everyone said they understood and they were eager to participate.
You'd be fighting change orders, extras, and
So it's a lot of, yeah, there's a lot that goes on. Even after the
this is
decision.
just the beginning.
I know.
Okay, thank you all for the collaborative work on all of that. Those are big moves. So on to old business, zoning board of appeals reappointments. We should have a tab for your ZBAs.
They didn't get tabs, only you get tabs.
Oh, I got tabs,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't understand this model of these strange,
So. They're supposed to be in varied terms so that you don't lose all the members at the same time. And for some reason, they all got askew. And so now we're trying to reset them back to the 5-year, 4-year, 3-year, 2-year,
okay.
so that they don't keep expiring at the same time again.
Yeah, right.
So, I'm gonna
These
start,
are all appointed.
yes, so I move that we appoint Stephen Swart to the 2-year slot, which would be, despite what this says on here, it would be 12/20/25 to 12/20/27.
in a second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye? Aye. Okay. I move that we appoint William Bland to the 3-year term. 12/20/25 to 12/20/28.
I second.
Any discussion? All those say aye. Aye. All those in favor, I should say. Okay. I nominate that we appoint Richard Maloney for the 4-year term, which would be 12/20/25 through 12/20/29. Can I get a second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I nominate Mark Macinda for the 5-year term from 12/20/25 to 12/20/30.
He's okay with that, huh? All right.
He had that sparkle in his eye.
It's,
Something like, I just can't wait.
are there any other boards that are?
Can we get a second on that?
Oh, I'll second Mark Macinda.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Are there any other boards that are 100% appointed?
Yes.
Yeah, there are more.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know then.
But this one is feels a little unique, right?
Yeah, it does feel a little unique.
Which board was that?
The zoning board of
CBA.
appeals.
Zoning Board of Appeals, but I guess like
They rarely meet,
the
you know.
WISE committee. And
Yeah.
those other ones, those are all
Well, except for.
unelected.
Cornerstone.
That's coming.
Sure.
Okay, wise reappointments.
I don't remember having anything on that, so I
Oh,
may,
you did that already.
I may not help put anything in there.
Yes.
Why is this?
I thought we already did that.
I think we did that last.
Berg and.
Don.
Where's my,
Don and,
where are my minutes?
Yeah.
Don's on. Don, are we missing any?
Really-
It should be Bill Lucian and John Tehan that
I think we
expired
did that the
in
last
November.
meeting. I think we did those in the 12-1 meeting. If I'm not mistaken,
being our mid.
it would be in your minutes and I don't think I printed any out for myself, so.
All right, so conservation, CIP.
Longer ago than
Inland wetland.
Economic development. Zoning board of appeals, conservation.
Did we have to table it because the dates weren't?
I think
set?
that was the zoning board of appeals.
That was on Board of Appeal, the dates once.
Hang on a second, let me see if I have it in email, or either that or we just carried it by mistake in the agenda.
I don't see him under last month's new business.
So Don, I have an email from you from December 11th. Okay, stand by. I believe I have the information right here. Whoa. Okay. Really tiny on the screen. Okay. So Don, you're showing as a 2024 appointment, so you do not need reappointment, right? And Bill Bennell also does not. It's just Bill Lucian and John Tehan, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, this was the problem. They show the terms going from January 25 to November of 2025.
Right, that's my understanding.
So where do they go from here?
What is the term?
12, 15, 25,
It says they're supposed to be 3-year terms. So are you saying they were supposed to go from November 2025 to November 2028?
I'm thinking that they filled in somebody else's term from the
Right.
previous WISE committee.
Right,
and
so they
that's
should
why
be
it was so
going-
short.
So they should be going 11/4/25 to 11/4/28.
That sounds right.
Well, I say we go with that, otherwise they're not appointed. So I move that we nominate Bill Lucian to the WISE Committee for the term of November 4th, 2025 through November 4th, 2028.
1 second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. And I move we appoint John Tehan, sorry, to the WISE Committee for a term of 11/4/2025 to 11/4/2028.
I second.
All in, discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Well done.
Okay,
Question.
yes, sir.
We have a special meeting scheduled for tomorrow night to vote on our calendar for 2026. At which
Yeah.
point in time, if they're signed up with a town clerk and sworn in, they can vote on that, which would mean we'd
Yeah.
have 3 or 4 voting members versus 2. So will paperwork be ready for them tomorrow? I'm not sure if they'll be able to get down and sign it or not, but will there be paperwork if they do?
Yes,
Absolutely. I will make it a point to do their letters first thing when I come in the morning.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
okay. Next was reappointments due to delay in getting sworn in. Mike Johansson, I believe, is the only one, right?
Yes.
So Mike Johansson came in and got sworn in from a previous reappointment, but hadn't realized he had missed the deadline by a day. It's perishable, your reappointment.
Okay.
And
Yeah, you haven't had
so,
days.
so he came in on day 11, not realizing that his reappointment had perished.
Who's sad?
Fortunately, he did not. So, sorry to say that out loud.
Very much.
So Mike is getting reappointed.
This is 3. This is the triple.
3 reappointed.
Repeat.
It's a 3P. Okay. I would like to move that we again appoint Mike Johansson to the Economic Development Commission for a term that is effective August 18th, 2025, and will expire August 18th, 2030.
Sure.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, now we're going to,
And I will draft him another
we'll
letter.
draft him a letter and,
Get him down.
call him and tell him to get here before his appointment perishes.
Perishes.
Okay. On to good and welfare. I have a couple of items. So, Karen Cody, Human Services Director, asked me to, share in good and welfare that, the Human Services, Department would like to give a heartfelt thank you to the Boy Scouts and the Hall Middle School and Flat Pennies for their food drives and the townspeople for all they donated of time, food, and gift donations, as well as monetary gifts during the holiday season already. Because of their generosity, we were able to feed 72 families and seniors for Thanksgiving.
Wow.
For the Christmas holiday, we are able to feed and give gifts for 80 families and seniors, which includes over 60 children. We could not do this without the generosity of the community. Thank you again for making someone's holiday a little lighter and brighter. Willington, you rock. That's a quote. Karen says from herself and her staff, may you all have a very happy, healthy holiday season and may the new year bring you many blessings. So I think that's a great start for welfare. I'd also like to point out that the Willington Hill Fire Department held this past Saturday their annual awards banquet, which recognized 5-year increments, as well as top 3 responders and people who have attended training this year. It acknowledged 6 new members of the Willington Hill Fire Department
Fantastic.
who are volunteering to serve their community. Some are juniors, some are for fire police activity, and some are just regular, what they call active members. Probationary first, of course. And the quantity that was honored on that day of all the different people added all up equaled 620 years of service to the Willington Hill Fire Department, which I think is a notable total. But most notable because volunteerism is getting harder and harder to attract
Yes.
in all volunteer worlds, including the fire departments. The fact that there are 6 new Willington Hill Fire Department members is
Outstanding.
let's call it stupendous.
Stupendous. I love it. I'm putting that in the minutes.
And then not to be a downer, but I do just want to acknowledge that a resident lost their home last week at the fire on 48 Village Hill Road.
Right.
That resident was in the same day offered support from the town's human services as well as the Red Cross. And so the resident has available support and is I don't wanna say all right, cause they've lost their home, but.
Sure, right, but
They're getting, they have available support if they need it. And just acknowledging this is a tough time of year,
Mhm.
not that there's a good time of year to lose your house.
No,
Anything else for good and welfare?
I don't know if you wanted to go over the police report or not.
I forgot to talk about the police report during, the first selectmen's report, but you all could just feel free to look at it and see if there's any you care to digest from it. This format is improved a little bit finally. Mostly the bottom block is what tells what's happened in November in Wellington. So feel free to soak it in.
Not particularly illuminating.
So we are back to present to speak. We'll start in the room.
Oh, sure. Steph Summers, White Road.
Oh.
I just wanted to, this was really an interesting meeting and good work by all you guys. I wanted to mention a couple things. One is on the privacy issue and particularly videotaping, people who may or may not be aware of it. That is a real serious issue that's under attack in several quadrants of society right now, but definitely things are happening in Connecticut. There are 31 towns who have the, what are they called, Mike Flock, cameras.
Yeah,
That,
Flock is one of the little
One of the
black
big-
cameras that are solar powered, yeah.
that are on the intersections and everywhere else that basically capture shots of who's in your car and you and where you're going when and everything else. And that data is used regularly and shared with other police jurisdictions. They're usually units that are owned by a town or usually by law enforcement. It's also being shared on the federal level, including with ICE, to round up people who they don't have other information on how to find. So there are concerns among the public that are growing in leaps and bounds about incursion on the Fourth Amendment and the Connecticut Trust Act. So I'm just mentioning to you how crucial that is. And especially if you have, you know, the issue with the senior center is, you know, well-meaning, but if you're going to have surveillance cameras, it really should be done by professional surveillance staff, not by any kind of board deciding it wants to view footage of events that happen in any public building, in my opinion. Obviously, you have to do what we do here and at the library, different places. We have security and it's all with it's all done according to Hoyle, I believe. But it's, and it's crucial. But I think I just would like you all as leaders of the top leaders of the town to be aware of this issue that's coming up. And if you want me to, I can send you a link to a YouTube hearing that was held in September in Windsor, Connecticut, about these cameras and the concerns from the public, other officials in the town. It's really quite an interesting hearing, and they raise a lot of issues that I think people are unaware of. So it really highlights the way that the national issues are becoming local. So there's that. And the other thing is, I know that SBC is being charged with collecting a lot of costs and because that's, you know, a big part of the game of what they're going to be about. But I also want to hasten to say it really is important to have educators with a direct line to the users and dwellers and multiple dwellers in the building. And that's the teaching staff and the students and also the families that use the schools most predominantly. That connection is a very strong one. Obviously, knowing what we're doing construction wise is crucial in this event, but it's not by any chance or by any stretch something that should be done in isolation with those concerns. I know I've heard, for instance, the idea of building around an active school being very disruptive, and particularly with the kids, these kids that are going through now, who have also been interrupted by COVID in terms of their learning and social experiences in the schools. That has set many of them back. So those are the things that I noted. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody online for present to speak?
That's a good crowd, too.
Crickets. All right, I believe we'll move on to motion for adjournment.
We'll move.
Second,
A second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This motion carries, and this meeting is adjourned at some time that I can't read. 8:17 PM. Thank you all.
Okay, glasses.
Pretty neat.